Welcome to By the Drip, the channel about the people behind the coffee and the passion that fuels it. We're two brothers who have spent our lives chasing something deeper than just great coffee. From walking farms in remote corners of the world to training and coaching multiple world barista champions. I'm David Crosby, founder of ROSSO COFFEE ROASTERS, the roasters behind back-to-back world champion wins. And I'm with my brother, Cole Torode, founder of Forward Coffee, sourcing some of the most inspiring coffees from Panama and building lasting relationships at origin. This isn't just a channel about coffee, it's about community, obsession, and the pursuit of excellence. One cup, one story, one coffee at a time.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to By the Drip. We are joined today with Andrea Tan.
Hi.
And I told her I wasn't going to give her a whole title. She told me no titles, just Andrea Tan. We're going to break down what that means through the conversation here. Andrea wears many hats, but also doesn't wear any hats.
No
Metaphorical hats, not physical hats, right?
Correct.
Andrea, what's up? Welcome to
Hi.
By the Drip. Thanks for being here.
Hello. So, I was just asking you actually, what is your favorite title? Or like, which one do you go by?
I just go by Cole.
Right?
Yeah.
After a while, you just go by your name because you just do so many things and then you just end up everywhere. And then once in a while, you pick like your favorite one or like the most impressive one, and then you go with it for a while. But I think I like going by my name because it's a lot more like all encompassing, you know?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same belief. I just like Cole. You know, it describes me, and I think describes me pretty well.
Yeah?
Yeah, all those other things that just as you described, the one that fits best or feels best. It's like, good for a moment. They're fleeting titles, right?
I think it's a bit difficult to be like confined by one title. I think it's my personality. I'm just a bit more like free in that sense. I like to collect stuff.
You like to collect stuff. You're collecting
Yeah,
titles.
I
I
am.
like it. I like it. Andrea, we always start the show with a really easy lowball question, and you can take as long or as little amount of time as you'd like to answer this, but always curious how our guests got into coffee. Coffee is such a diverse world filled with many different backgrounds and many different educations and titles before the coffee titles. Would love to know your origin story and how you got into the world of coffee.
This is a long story. It's a normal story, and then it gets a little bit
Okay.
abnormal. So
Okay, you tell us as much as you'd like to tell us.
I started like I will tell you everything. It gets interesting. So I started like everybody did. Honestly, I was waiting tables. I was working in a like a regular cafe. I thought it was regular. I didn't know my boss was like a barista champion. I didn't know what that
Okay.
meant. I was in school. I was in like maybe pre-uni, and then I was waiting tables, and then it was just randomly I got like a chance to be in the bar, and then I started to learn like, oh, this is an espresso machine, and then this is latte art, all the kind of thing. And then I figured out that my boss was like not a current but a previous barista champion, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then he was gonna compete for like the upcoming barista competition, and then that year was
Nationals or Worlds?
nationals.
Nationals.
So
Okay.
that year was 2014. He was gonna compete for
Okay.
2015. So
In Singapore,
Singapore,
correct?
correct,
Okay.
in Singapore. And then I'm a lousy storyteller. Okay, so yes, it was in
You're doing great.
Singapore. And then I was also okay. No, so in 2015, Singapore had its first Brewers Cup competition. right? And then he asked me, "Are you interested to join?" I was like, "Wait, what's that?" And he was like, "Oh, it's just like a simplified version of a competition, just brew coffee." I was like, "Wait, what's brew coffee?" That was 2014 in December. I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, let's do it." So I signed up. The competition was in March in 2015. At this point, I've not made coffee. I was still waiting tables. But I said yes to joining a competition. So then in February, no, in February of 2015, I flew to Taiwan, and I was very lucky because I met Jake on that trip. I was going to meet him on that trip. And then he roasted my coffee, and then he taught me how to brew. My boss was my ex-boyfriend, by the way, so yeah, so it's all connected. And then
Okay.
that was the first time that I got in touch with coffee. I learned how to brew coffee in February, and then I went back to Taiwan again in March to adjust something or other. And then I won in March of 2015. And that's how I got coffee. Because I won the Brewers Cup.
Okay, I'm just gonna summarize what I got out of that.
Yeah.
You're waiting tables. You're working for someone who is the barista champion of Singapore.
Yes.
They're an ex-boyfriend. There's an asterisk on there.
Yes.
They push you into doing the Brewers Cup. You
Yes.
end up in Taiwan. You connect with Jake. This is for those of you who don't know Jake. Jake is Jake Hu of Tasters Coffee and does.
Yes.
We'll talk about him later on in the episode here. And then Jake supports you in roasting and brewing recipes. You fly back to Singapore and you just knock the whole competition. You just first time, don't know what you're doing, and
Yes.
okay.
Yes. The first coffee I ever brewed in my life was in December. It was a drip bag. I have no idea what it was. I have a picture of me somewhere. It was a drip bag in a milk pitcher, and then I poured water into it. I was like, "Oh, this is coffee brewing. I can do this." And then the second coffee I ever brewed in my life was one of two options for my competition. The first was a Panama Finca Aroma Natural Geisha, and the third coffee I ever brewed in my life was a 90 plus Nekise. So from the get-go, I was spoiled rotten. I had no idea what I was doing. I used an EK for the first time in February, and it scared like hell out of me because it kept vibrating on the table. And I was like, I have no idea how to use this thing. I'm gonna break it. I did not break it, and then I won that year, and that's how I got in coffee.
Okay, so you're the 2015 Singaporean Brewers Cup champion.
I'm the 2015. I'm the first Singapore Brewers Cup champion. Surprise!
You're the first Singapore Brewers Cup champion.
I am.
Can we make an edit here on the podcast? Can we put that in with her title at the beginning, please?
Yeah.
Can you float that on the screen?
Put like underline with like the first. I'm the first. Yeah.
The first. We need the first on there too.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Okay, so you go on to compete in the Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine 2015. The Worlds was
in Gothenburg.
Gothenburg. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And is that the end of your competition career? Does the story end there?
I was very lucky that year. If you really want to hear my full origin story, so that year I finished competing in March, right?
We're here for it, Andrea. It's all the mic's all yours.
Then 2015, my ex-boyfriend also won the Barista Champion of Singapore. So he competed in Seattle in 2015 April, right?
Okay.
That was Sasa's year, and then after I brewed the two very expensive coffees and won my championship, I went to Seattle and I saw the WBC for the first time, and it was incredible. It was like, it's the first time I felt like I was part of something so live. The stadium was like, it was built like a stadium that year, and then I sat there and then I watched. Who did I watch? I watched Sasa Sestic, of course, but
Yeah.
I watched. Um, I suddenly cannot remember his name. Oh my god.
Ben Putt would have been in that. Maxwell would
Maxwell.
have been there. Charlotte.
I did. I watched Charlotte. I watched Maxwell, and then I sat there and I was like, "This is incredible." He sounds so good. Can he just like keep talking?
Charles Babinski was in that finals.
Yeah. It was a great year. It was my first time. Can you imagine how lucky I am from the get go? So I won.
Was Don
and I-
Chan in that finals?
Oh my god, you are right. He was.
I think Don Chan was in that.
He was. Wait, was he? 2014. Dawn was 2014. Was he?
We're gonna have to fact check this. We'll fact check this afterward. And before you go on, so just as a fun fact for you, this is my first Worlds. My first
Really?
Worlds is in Seattle. Yeah, 2015. It's my
my
first
God.
Worlds because it's so close to Calgary relatively.
Mm-hmm.
We flew to Vancouver and we drove down, and it's like a super easy. It's not that easy, but easy for Canadians in terms of travel route.
Mm-hmm.
So it was my first WBC.
My first WBC was Seattle. It was incredible. It was crazy. I think I was a bit shook at like how big the industry is and how
Right.
it's alive. It was like the year of the greats, you know. Yeah. I probably shouldn't emphasize more on that, yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
so
Like,
that happens in April.
yeah, it
And
happens.
then Gothenburg is later in the year.
Gothenburg was in June, and then I competed
Okay.
in June that year. It was a very eye-opening experience. I didn't actually have the best time. So that year, the head judge sat in the panel. So there weren't like 4 people. There was only 3. I think S1 was the head judge, and then there was 2 and 3 because there weren't a lot of judges, I think. And then they were still using the old score sheet, so there were like 6.75s and 725s.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was still like, I think ever since that year, we've gone through at least 5 changes to our score sheet. Yeah, at least 5 major ones. So that year, we could still bring like compulsory beans home to practice and then bring it back to compete with. It was strange.
Really?
Yeah, it was strange. It was okay. Obviously it wasn't great because they changed it. But
Right.
yeah, that year we could still bring it home to compete with the next day. We could like practice with it at home. And then
That seems crazy to me.
yeah. Oh my god, I'm in an era before you. You've never experienced that, have you?
I did Brewers Cup for the first time in 2016, and
Right.
I don't believe we did that. And I only
No.
did it one more time, which was 2023. I've only done Brewers twice.
Right. Yeah. So that year you could still bring coffee home. And then we did compulsory and then we did open service. And I think it was a bit scary to me because when I got my score sheets, they didn't look anything like my nationals. It was a lot more empty. It was a lot more succinct, like very short form. I think that was one of
In
the
a
reasons.
in a good way, or you felt
I am now
like it was missing.
I'm now not in a position to complain about it, but then it was terrible. I'm speaking for the 2015 me. It was terrible. I was 20 years old, standing in the middle of an auditorium in Gothenburg, looking at sheets that were not fully filled. There were like, you know, when you make like a point and then you like continue writing and then you make a point. There were like a couple of points that were there but not finished. It was like
Okay.
citrus, and then 7.25. And then I just stood there, like, not knowing what to do because it was very. I spent a lot of time on it, even though I had a very lucky start. But
Hmm.
I spent a lot of effort on this competition, and then to get like very mediocre feedback that year was very upsetting for me. And I think that was one of the reasons that made me want to become a judge
Hmm.
because
Okay.
I didn't feel remembered or wanted there. I remember feeling like I was one in the crowd. I remember feeling really awful actually. And I don't think anybody woke up that day and decided, I'm gonna make someone feel really bad today. So now looking back, I think it was like a very motivational moment for me because it felt like I discovered there was like a whole big ecosystem, right? And then I want to be a part of this ecosystem. I was really like, the world of like coffee was magical. It was like, wow, there's this like, if you win something, you get to go to these like big places and like there's a lot of people. It's like it's like Hogwarts, you go to school and there's magic everywhere. Yeah, but that moment was like when reality hit and it's like, wait, there's something here that's not as magical as I thought it would be. It was a little bit like lackluster, honestly.
Okay.
And that was 2015, right? So I decided I think people are always gonna compete. There are always people who are gonna like wanna say something, wanna like be on the competition stage. But I don't think there are enough judges. We're not even gonna say like there are not like enough good judges or bad judges or whatever. There's just not enough. At least that year there wasn't. So I decided to be a judge. So in 2016 I judged my first nationals. And then in 2018
Starting with brewers.
starting with brewers. I only
Okay.
did brewers for a very long time. I started judging in 2016 and then I certified in 2018 for World Brewers Cup. And then at the same time, I certified for coffee roasting because it was like a two-in-one kind of deal. You could do both. So I did. And then 2018 was my first time I was certified, but then I only judged. But then it was in Brazil that year, so I didn't go. It was really too far. So I judged my first Worlds in Boston in 2019. And then that year, I judged the finals of Brewers Cup. So yeah, I have a very blessed life, honestly. So after I judged,
That was 2019. Du Jianing.
yes, and Patrick
Yeah.
Wolf.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. Alessandro Galtieri.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a great year, honestly, for me because I started looking at score sheets in 2015, and then in 2019 when I was judging, there was a moment before they announced the finalists. Everybody was in the room. They were like running around trying to like tidy the sheets, and I looked around and I was just like collecting sheets. Right, everybody's sheet was full. And I just stood there in the room and I was like, this is going to be a year full of not happy, but at least like satisfied people, at least. Everybody's sheets were full. So the backstory is that I'm a literature student. So I love to write. I write a lot of things. So once I started judging and I started like understanding what I was doing, I started writing essays, compo, love stories. All my score sheets are full. There were a couple of years that people took photos of my score sheets for like calibration or something, just to like see the amount, right? So in 2019, when I stood there in my first Worlds and looking at like the room full of like people from everywhere, and everybody's sheets were full, it was like a really nice full circle moment for me. I remember myself thinking like, if I was 20 years old again standing here, even if I got like the last place, if I just looked at any of these sheets on the table now, I think I feel like somebody like cares about me. Like somebody wants to like really tries their very best to like remember what I
Right.
did. And it was really nice. It was a moment that like made me feel like I was doing the right thing for myself and for like other people who are like me, I guess. So that was
That's
2019.
nice. From the competitor, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. From the competitor
Yeah.
perspective, and you've obviously been the competitor before, and you've had this perspective, and you've coached before, and you've had the perspective there. To have an empty score sheet by the time everything is said and done, and that's all you take home with you, it is so tough because you pour in your time, your energy, your love, your passion, you make sacrifices to do the competition stuff,
Yeah.
and then to not even get a full piece of feedback for the work that you've done, and then that work just disappears into oblivion, and is never heard of, talked of, spoken of again. It's like it just disappears. And as a competitor, thank you for
You're
writing
welcome.
a full score sheet. And on behalf of all the competitors, who have come before me, who have had you as a judge, I'll say thank you on their behalf, because I'm certain
Oh, you're
whether it's
gonna make
good
me
things or not,
cry.
whether it's good things or not written on that score sheet, there's something there you can take home with
Yeah.
you, right?
Yeah.
It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference.
It does, because like I've been there, and that year actually I forgot to say. So the fourth coffee I ever brewed in my life was my coffee for Gothenburg, right?
Okay.
I used the sorry, I've been like spoiled. I I used La Master's Elida green tea wash geisha, and apparently,
Okay.
as an afterthought, I found out that I was the first person to use an Elida on the world stage. So like, and
Hang
I was
on,
very
hang on one sec. Can we get the Dom? Can we get the editor to throw another title in over here for Andrea? We've got the first person to use a
an
Lamastus
Elida,
geisha on the world
absolutely,
stage.
absolutely. So I used two different like I had two different natural geishas for like my nationals. I was choosing
Okay.
between them, and then when it got to worlds, for some reason I chose a wash geisha, and I really liked it. So I was very proud
Okay.
of it, and I didn't get the feedback I wanted. I didn't get the scores I thought I would, which was fine. But I wanted to know more, because I really like this coffee, and I was very proud of my choice. So yeah, I
I think the natural progression would be talking a little bit about your move from being judge there in the finals to the pathway to WCE rep, and maybe tell us a little bit about that journey.
so I think uh, let me see where did we drop off? COVID and then after COVID. So the first competition after COVID was in Melbourne in 2022.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was in Brewers Cup. I wasn't having a great year. I just came out of I was a tail end of like clinical depression. So that's another big story. Um, and then I didn't want to like I wanted to judge, but I wasn't very confident about being on stage. So I spent most of that year in compulsory. I had a great time. It was just me and judges and coffee. And then I was head judging compulsory that year. And then things got better for me personally. And then 2023, I was in Athens. And then I was judging inside and outside that year. And then I head judge um, finals in Athens. And it was a big year for me because like I had Michael Young on my panel, and it was a little bit scary. So I think that moment helped me to realize that sometimes you do have to be in a little bit like of a position of power to actually make some changes. There were a few disagreements we had backstage that I remember quite clearly, because that was also the first year that we were like fully using the new score sheets, where we went from like the old 6.75 system into like the new CBA system, right?
Right.
And then that
Right.
was also one of the first years where we weren't using the cupping spoon. It was like a full consumer experience of drinking the cups and everything. So I think it was a very big year with a lot of like big discussions we had backstage. And I realized that only because I was head judging, only because people recognized me for the amount of work I put into Brewers Cup, that they were like a little bit more willing to negotiate and discuss with me, with my views, with people who agreed with me. So that became, I think if I want to make more changes to this system, I need to be in a place where I can do that. So the next career progression for myself was to be a rep. It wasn't like I don't know why people become reps actually. I've actually asked a few reps this question. I've asked people like, why are you doing this? Why are you here? There are like a myriad of answers, you know. Some people do it for their own career path. They do it for fame. They do it for, I've had like quite candid answers. Do it for fame. They do it for the opportunity to travel. They do it because they love the industry. There's just a lot of answers, but none of them really sat well with me. I resisted like applying for it or thinking about it for a long time, until like I spoke to someone and he said that he enjoyed working with people. He enjoyed understanding where to put people so that they shine their best. It's like human management, you know. And I realized that I actually enjoyed that a lot. So then I got the confidence to say, you know what, I can do this thing. I'm gonna be a rep because I enjoy working with people and I enjoy knowing how to push them so they shine.
Okay.
But to get there, I have to be certified in WPC first. So the other half of the industry that I kind of like threw in the back of my mind for like a good 8 years, I have to like, okay, I'm back. I need to know what's going on. So in 2023, I judged 1 or 2 nationals for barista. And then in 2024, I certified for barista, and then I judged in Busan for the first time. Yeah, I judged in Busan for the first time. And then I was really lucky that year. I judged in Busan, and then I got judged semifinals. It was great. It was fast paced. It was fun. It reminded me of that feeling in 2015 when I was watching in Seattle, and I was like, everything's so live, you know. Like Brewers Cup is amazing. I love it. It's my competition, but everything's very chill there. The characteristics of the competitors, the judges, the mindsets, it's very theoretical sometimes. They're very structured people. We are very structured people. But like once I started getting to judging the WPC, it's like I'm reminded why everything's so live. There's so much energy in the air. So much like people are angrier. People are more like passionate. But it's very nice actually. So after that year, I was certified in both brewers and barista. And then I got recommended to be a rep. And then I completed my rep program. And then I became a rep.
And
So
and
let's
so
see.
now a rep. What does that mean? Like I have a general idea of what a rep is and what a rep does, but can you explain it to me as if I'm 14 years old and don't know anything about coffee?
I'm trying. I like an image of 14-year-old Cole flash across my mind. Ugh, okay. So if you're a rep, basically you are your daily work outside of world competitions is you are invited to oversee and take care of the national competitions, the different competition bodies around the world. You help to hold the standard. The WCC kind of like upholds. You solve things. In layman terms, you solve problems and you make sure everything
Okay.
is fair. You make sure people are happy, or at least if they're not, then they are factually and honestly and transparently communicated why.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a whole bunch of code of conduct that we adhere by at world competitions. Most of us end up as head judges. Most of us
Hmm.
are people that we kind of discuss things and then we kind of like align on things to make everything better. Does 14-year-old Cole understand this? Without
Yeah. Yeah.
context.
14-year-old Cole is still here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's basically what we do.
How
Basically,
many
we.
reps are there in the world?
That's a very difficult question. There are.
Is it?
Yeah, because I don't remember. There are
Oh.
like many of us.
But what's
I
many?
would
We're
think
talking
at
30,
least.
30 or 40, isn't
I
there?
think. I think maybe 40-ish. I would say.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
got
would say
news for you. That's
40-ish.
not a lot of people.
That's not a lot of people. Yeah.
It's not a lot of people, and I think we need to actually put it up here on the old title board. Add it to the title board.
I am
World
the
Coffee
youngest
Events
rep.
rep. Are you really?
I am the yeah. I am. I became a
Wow.
rep at. I became a rep at 29. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
the
So
youngest rep.
you get invited to be the rep at different national competitions, different national bodies around the world. They
Yep.
bring you in to oversee and ensure that everything is happening by the code of conduct, by the rules
Yep.
of regulations. Everybody's treated fair. Every score sheet is filled out. Let's go. Let's get some more ink
Absolutely.
on
Of
that
course.
page.
Absolutely.
All right, we are back. We had a little technical glitch there. Andrea's back. She's recording on a different camera, different angle, different perspective. It's all cool. It's all good. We are back. If you could go back to your 2014 self, you're just getting into the coffee industry. You're a baby barista. Would you would you say all the effort through the years is worth it to become either of these large perspective roles that you have today, influential industry roles today?
I think it's worth it because I realize that I'm surrounded by people that I love that are really into competitions. I think sometimes when I don't have enough motivation to do what I do and things get very dreary, they get you get so tired of everything after a while. But then it's like I don't know where competitors get their like passion from. They're just really like riled up, they're so like ready to go. And then it kind of rubs off on you because you care about them, you care about your community, you care about these people. And it's like, what if this person that I'm like really close to, it's their first time competing or like the first time at the Worlds, and they don't get the experience, like the beautiful experience of like 2019. What if they get my 2015 experience?
Hmm.
And then it's just like, yeah, I gotta work a little bit harder. It's just at least one more year. And then it's that like never ending, just one more year that kind of like pushes you. Yeah. And that's why I'm still here. I think people. I care about people a lot. I care about replicating a good experience for them. I
Mm-hmm.
care about I care about them being remembered and feeling like they belong. I think
Okay.
that was it.
So those are all traits that go into both of those roles, correct? Into the rep role, but also into the green coffee buying role. You have to
Yeah.
care about people. You have to have empathy. You have to feel and understand.
Yeah. Like I think being an origin is very special
Mm-hmm.
because you're hanging out with a bunch of people that really care so much about where their product is going. And actually, I think if I was like a grower, I would live in so much like constant anxiety all the time because there's so little control about where things go, how they're going to be treated, what's going to become of them. There's so much ambiguity that happens after the coffees leave origin. You just hope for the best that you sell
Mm-hmm.
to people who know how to handle your things. It's not really about good or bad at all, after a while. You just realize it's whether people have the capabilities to handle your product. And that's just it. And then just doing right by them and making sure that what you experience firsthand is passed on in the right ways to people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the same experience I'm replicating on both sides. That feeling of remembering people, their stories, their coffees. I think to preserve this like memory thing is it's so difficult but so meaningful, and I think that's what I've been doing, honestly, or at
How
least, yeah.
and how do you do that? How do you document that? How do you ensure that that legacy that you are leaving continues?
I think storytelling is a very big part of it. It's very
Okay.
like it's so cliche, but it is. Storytelling is a big part of it because when you hear something firsthand from someone, it's just a very different experience.
Mm-hmm.
When you see how I think I'm the most like you wouldn't expect me to go to Origin, that kind of person. Like I'm a very typecast, stay at home, sit in the cupping lab kind of person. But I guess when people see me going out there to do things, it kind of like at the very least it's like it's interesting. So at least that level of interest brings things somewhere. And then it's like we have something to get started from, I guess.
Cool. I was really hoping you were going to say there that if people see you doing it, they would have the belief that they can too. That's what I was hoping you were going to say there. But I think your line is also nice.
I I don't think I'm setting out to be an inspiration. I'm just setting out to live my life and to live it very, very, very fully.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not it makes you want to do the same, at least there is a reference point for how big the maximum capacity is to actually like live life and see things and experience people and coffee.
And coffee.
Yeah.
And coffee. I like that. I like that. So let's talk about Ethiopia. You just got back from Ethiopia
I
a week
did.
ago, 5 days ago, 4 days ago.
Cannot remember, but yeah, last week.
And
Ethiopia's great.
tell me about Ethiopia. I've been a coffee buyer for 10 years. I've been to a dozen different producing countries. Ethiopia is not
It's not.
one of the countries that I have been to. I've been to Africa,
No.
I've been to Asia, I've been to coffee in Central South America. I've not been to the motherland. I've not been to Ethiopia. So I want to pick your brain about Ethiopia. I want to hear all about it.
I've been to Ethiopia 3 times.
Okay.
Each time was not a very long trip. I usually do longer trips for like Central America because of time difference, the flying. Ethiopia is actually relatively close by compared to the other origins. So from Singapore or from Bangkok, it's like a overnight red eye flight. Maybe within like 8 to 10 hours, you get there.
Hmm.
You land in Addis Ababa and then you're in Ethiopia. So it's
Right.
actually relatively easy for us to get there. Um, Africa, I've only unlike you, I've only been to Ethiopia actually. So for me, like, it's very difficult to say Africa as a whole, but for me, Ethiopia is a very special origin. Everything is very, there is a lot of culture. There is a lot of, I would say it's a very different place from other origins. Um, just like from, I would say, the climate, the entire like feeling of being in Ethiopia is very different already. It's very hot, but at the same time, it's very cooling. So
Hmm.
you feel like there is like sunshine, but like cold wind at the same time.
Okay.
So it's actually a very comfortable environment. It's very dry. It's not a place where you feel sticky or humid in any of the sense. You're just constantly right in the comfortable threshold of very sunny, very windy, cool winds, and then like blazing sun.
Okay.
It's a very strange kind of it's a very strange kind of temperature to be in, but it's very comfortable, honestly. So just right
And
from the get go, like temperature.
this is kind of comparable in all growing regions that you visited.
I've been to Honduras, Panama,
I
Thailand,
sorry, I mean in Ethiopia specifically.
Ethiopia.
Yeah.
E-
Like in the different provinces or areas that you've been to.
So I've actually not been to okay, I've been to Ethiopia 3 times. Two of the 3 times I've been just in the cupping lab. So
Okay.
one time I went to the growing regions. I've only been to Bensa actually.
Okay.
So I haven't actually traveled out further or like more than just Bensa area. And yeah, this experience is just based on that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's where I get most of my coffees. So it's a it's a pretty direct linked experience to the coffees, I think.
Okay. And how do you describe the profile of those coffees? What's the origin characteristic?
Yeah, but yeah, it changes actually. I think the first year I was there, it was very. We're just talking about naturals. The first year I was there, most of the coffees were very mango, very yellow peach.
Mm.
It I think had a lot to do with the temperature that year. I think it was a lot hotter. The second year, which was last year, there was blueberry, a lot more blueberry traits, a lot more,
Okay.
I would say, mm, berry and blueberry traits last year. So I don't have enough data, but asking around, probably had to do with a little bit more rains last year as well. So kind of was like an effect of um, the dry that came that had like a little bit more like berry traits in it.
Okay.
This year is quite. I like this year a lot. There were a lot of apples on the table, like apple traits.
Hmm.
It was very pretty. Um, yeah, I think a lot more. I personally consider apple like a very nuanced tasting note, and I think it has to do with like a smaller harvest this year, so a lot more clarity in flavors actually, to the point where we were like getting very pretty mellow sort of like malic apple sort of characters.
Well, okay. And you're talking year over year
Mhm.
cupping the same coffees,
Yeah,
mango to berries to apple.
yeah.
Very interesting. Very,
Hmm.
very interesting. Would you say that this year in Ethiopia is of a higher quality? You've kind of described the cup profile, but would you say it's of a higher quality threshold or?
I genuinely believe so, actually. I have
Mm-hmm.
had a couple of people asking me, like, while I was there, like, hey, how's the quality this year? How's everything? I heard it wasn't really good. Like, harvest is very low. But honestly, cupping all the coffees on the table, um, I thought it was actually much more detailed. I think all the
Hmm.
coffees are a lot more detailed.
Okay.
They're a lot more clear. And I think actually they are presenting much more pretty, like all dressed up, ready to go out. Like I would say, no, really. they're like all dressed up with like, nice little makeup, little dainty dresses ready to go out. It's not like the last few years where it was very like big and still pretty, but like full of like Snapchat filters. That's that's how I would describe it.
That's a good way to describe it. You're still describing it for 14-year-old Cole then.
I am.
He's getting it. He's getting it
Yeah,
for sure.
the coffees this year are all like natural beauties.
Okay.
Minimal makeup, a little bit of blush,
We love that.
rosy cheeks. Yeah,
We love that.
they're pretty.
Do you believe that a shorter yield, a smaller yield results in a higher quality cup?
Yes and no. It depends on two things, I think. If your infrastructure to begin with already produced coffees of a very high quality, then
Okay.
if you even if you have like a big yield or like a smaller yield, you have the infrastructure to support the quality, then yeah.
Right. So
If
you
it,
can maintain
yeah, yeah,
some level.
yeah.
Okay.
And then the second thing is if you have a smaller yield and you previously didn't have the infrastructure to support it, now with less coffee and less to do, you
Mm-hmm.
probably have a bit more energy and time to spend on that little amount of coffee. So probably yes.
Probably yes. More time to spend on it might also lead to us fucking it up more.
Maybe. Smaller margin of error. Smaller room for error.
Yeah. 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 Okay. I believe it does on a
Yep.
general basis. If we have a smaller crop, I think the fruit should be better.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not the processing is better or I've got
Yep.
more time to deal with it, I think the fruit should be better. Just
Yep.
less
Less
for
dilution.
less dilution. There you go. Yeah, one tree, so much energy,
Yeah.
less fruit to feed and ripen, and so I believe in theory the fruit should be better. In
Mm-hmm.
practice, not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
Also, here in Panama, it sounds like it's going to be a very short year in terms of yield. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are talking about maybe 30% down, maybe 80% down. Like
I've heard.
there's some of our favorite farms are not gonna have much coffee to share this year, and that'll be fascinating to see how the year unfolds. But
Yeah.
it sounds like it's a repeating theme all around the world at the moment that yields are low,
Yep.
which is interesting. Which likely also means for anybody listening that likely also means that next year is going to be a large harvest because coffee is cyclical. Next
Yep.
year is most likely going to be a larger crop around the world than it is this year.
Mm-hmm.
So you visited Ethiopia. What is the most exciting thing you tasted? Is most of what you taste there
158.
74158? Yeah, 74158.
Most of it is. I think the most exciting thing wasn't what I tasted, but what I saw.
Okay.
So this is my third time, and I usually spend my time with aloe coffee with
Mm-hmm.
Tamiru.
Yeah.
And we did a day trip, not really a day trip, like a quick 1 day, 1 night trip to Benza this time round to visit mainly his new advanced processing facility.
Okay.
And 3 years ago, there was nothing there. And it's amazing how quick things are to unfold when someone really cares about
Mm.
something. It was like a full like dark room setup. Things were like well placed apart. It was well ventilated. There were like four custom fermentation tanks in there.
Oh
It's
wow.
like, yeah, it's like you see the beginning of the future right in
Mm-hmm.
front of you. And I think what's exciting is knowing that there is hope. How do I put this? There was Ethiopia, it's a very special origin, I would say. It has amazing coffees, but at the same time, it's not really progressed as fast as other places in terms of like innovation and technology for various reasons, right? So
Right.
when you see the things that we've grown like quite accustomed to looking at, like fermentation tanks, moisture meters, like the small things, the big things, all the things that we see mentioned or talked about or used in like coffees in other growing countries, going back to being used in Ethiopia, you feel so much excitement for how the coffees there are gonna like get prettier and prettier. It's like they've discovered the world of like high-end beauty products all of a sudden, and people are just like dolling themselves up. And it's nice because I think this is the kind of ambiguity I could stand behind, like knowing that something is starting, a proper and sound infrastructure is coming into place, and then there is just endless possibilities that come from this.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Because why the first time that you went there, there was just very little infrastructure, very little.
It was very basic infrastructure, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It was African bits. It was properly built African bits, but still like direct sunlight. Um, there was like a little hut for processing, like fermentation tanks were in a room. There were like various types of materials on the wall to kind of like keep the temperature low.
Right.
um,
Okay.
Even like getting water was something that was very difficult. There are certain stations that don't have direct access to water. Cherries have to be moved to and fro to other places. And of course, we know that like Ethiopia is not a place where most producers have their own coffee. So it really, even seeing like asphalt roads on the ground is a very big thing. It's like a huge sign of hope. That like the first time I went, I had this conversation with Tamaru about how each station's like value was sometimes assessed based on its closeness to the next asphalt road, because the easier the road is, the better it is for people to transport cherries and the higher chance of getting better cherries. So it's just like down to road conditions. And that was
Right.
just 3 years ago, and now it's like asphalt roads are everywhere. Um you you, you know you're getting um people who can transport things for you better. um Tamara is growing his own coffee, and it's just, there's a lot going on in just 3 years.
Right.
And it's from like the small things to the big things. They're like shades covering everything everywhere. It was a very, I would say it's a very big moment to be there to see it, to like touch things. Yeah, yeah, I touch everything, touch things and taste things and like actually experience it all. It's very different. Yeah.
That's nice. It's nice to hear, and I've heard this from other people too. Ethiopia is moving very quickly right now, I think, and you gotta love it. I think for so long they were held back by the commodity exchange, right? And just nothing could exist. That's the reason I haven't been to Ethiopia in the past. Is in 2017, I think 17, 18, 19, we visited East Africa and we did Rwanda and Burundi as a company because uh, Ethiopia at that time was really hard to buy coffee because of the commodity exchange. You didn't have direct access or direct transparency into who was producing the coffee. And it's amazing, 10 years later, and even in
Yeah.
your 3 or 4 years that you've been there, it's like the advancement that has happened, and Cup of Excellence is there now, and that's making a big impact. I think I heard rumblings there's going to be the first Ethiopian Barista Championship, maybe this year, maybe next year.
Maybe.
Maybe. You are a rep, you should know more about that than I do. I'm just gossiping.
Gossiping.
Gossiping. But I think it's amazing because coffee can be the change, right? Coffee is such a powerful product in the world, and we've already talked about how it connects people all around the world, how it's connected us and other people, like-minded people. But not just that, it's a powerful economic tool
Yeah.
that can create substantial change. Panama, where I live now, is a great example. 25 years ago, the farms here for the most part struggled to sell their coffee, and they were selling it below market prices, and people were passing over them until they made a change and challenged the norm. And best of Panama, and the story, of course. And
Yeah.
it's just amazing to see what coffee can do to impact people around the world, or not even around the world, in their country, in their local community.
It changes lives, honestly. I spoke to someone on Ethiopia this trip, and it was it was a very inspiring talk. He he was an exporter that actually was like one of the OGs in Ethiopia.
Okay.
And yeah, and he saw the whole movement from like the old days when it was just, harar and like mixed stuff, and then all the way to like single varieties, how things are moving, people realizing that this product can bring them somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
that they're placing their faith and their dreams and their goals into this product. And I think that that's the thing that I have been trying to replicate, the ability to bring these feelings forward, whichever hat I'm wearing, whatever role I'm playing. It's that there must be this ability to bring what you felt from some place or someone forward into another person's life. Because like everything's connected.
Deep.
Mm.
Deep.
I'm a philosophical person.
Do you think, speaking of connection, do you think if you didn't win the Brewers Cup in 2014, 2015, pardon me, if you
50.
didn't win the first Singaporean
Right.
Brewers Cup in 2015, do you think any of this would matter for you right now? How do
No,
you think your life changed in that moment?
I wouldn't be here. I never was gonna join the coffee industry. I never thought about it. It
You're
wasn't
okay.
part of my plans. Yeah.
Is that rain?
Sorry, no. Fireworks.
It's fireworks. Oh, it's yeah, it's Lunar New Year. 新年快乐.
Yeah. Big hurrah for me.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be here. Honestly, I wasn't gonna join the coffee industry. I didn't know it was a thing. I studied to do business marketing. I was gonna do branding. I was gonna be a copywriter, uh, media, maybe,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
fashion, maybe. I didn't know coffee industry had a career path like this. I didn't know there was space for someone like me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there was a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings mixed into this whole reason why I'm here. It's like there's the good stuff, and then there's like the imposter syndrome. There's like the, oh, I have to give back to community. There's the, I don't deserve to be here, so I better, work harder to like show that I belong here. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I think it's not just me. I think a lot of us have these feelings throughout the years. So I really enjoy going through these big feelings and big life changes within the coffee industry. It was always a very safe landing pad for me. At least there was coffee.
At least there was coffee. Do you even like coffee all that much?
Me?
Yeah, come on. Tell us the
I
truth.
I don't drink coffee. Unless I'm working, I don't drink coffee. It's too much pressure. Do you drink coffee when you're not working?
I mean, it depends on what I'm doing, but I don't particularly like coffee as the world knows coffee, which is like
No.
a super pretentious but also thing, is something I've come to terms with. I don't have the need to drink coffee. I don't have the desire to drink coffee. If it's a day that I'm not cupping, I might not make a coffee,
No.
and
I
I'm okay with that.
yeah. I have like, aside from this whole like big romantic like coffee industry life I have a normal life.
Uh huh.
And like sometimes when I like go on date and then people like try to like, you wanna go to a cafe? I'm like, no. Huh? Then what do we do? I'm like, we can don't you work in coffee? Don't you wanna go to a cafe? I'm like, no. I'm like, why? I'm like, I don't think like Olympic swimmers want to hang out by the pool on their off day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to hang out in the pool. Maybe they want to hang out beside the pool.
I don't know, but
Don't know.
I wouldn't. I don't enjoy going to cafes. I don't enjoy drinking coffee very much, only because I'm very picky. Yeah.
I'm gonna put the words in your mouth. I think you've lost the romance of coffee that would be exploring new cafes and would be going and trying a new origin or trying a new type or the exploration. I think you're over the honeymoon phase with coffee,
Yeah.
and that's totally fine. You have probably hit a level of understanding and experience through it that you're kind of like, I don't need this every day. I've tried the top. I know I'm not getting the top, here today. So I'm just not going to have it.
I think that it's okay to be like
Mm-hmm.
this. I I felt very judged for a large part of my life that I have to like coffee, I have to drink coffee every day, I'll die without it. I'm just fine. I still love my industry. I'm still here.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
accept myself, why don't you?
No, I think it's also good to remove yourself from. You practice it every day, right? You told me before we jumped on this call that you're doing a bar shift later today
I
and you're going to be
am. I'm
serving
going to be
people.
brewing coffee.
Isn't that fun?
I actually like brewing coffee a lot recently.
Yeah. Why recently? What's changed?
I realized that sometimes it's not that complicated.
Okay.
And
It's never that complicated. We're that complicated. Coffee's not. We are.
and I think my boss is roasting very well recently.
Oh
I've
yeah.
been having
Okay.
I've been having a lot of fun with my coffees. We've been sourcing very nice things that I enjoy drinking. Um, yeah, it's just been very nice. I I think it's very nice to pick up a bag and be like, "Oh, I remember you. I picked you. Let's see how you taste now." And like, you taste great. I have good taste.
So
Nice.
yeah,
That's a cool feeling.
yeah. And it's like the more I go out there, the more I kind of like really appreciate being home, because I used to have really fake conversations with customers, like,
Hmm.
oh my God, you like this coffee? Great. I heard this and then that. And now it's like, last week when I was there, this wasn't even like that. This was like full like blueberry juice. And then today it's just like banana syrup. It's like beautiful, blah, 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 blah. It's like, I don't have to fake it anymore. I've seen enough and done enough things that all these things are like real stories, and they are real things that I want to share with real people. So I think that really helps like build on
Hmm.
to the experience of like enjoying to brew coffee and enjoying to like talk to people. I don't have to fake it anymore.
You don't have to fake it anymore.
Oh,
What's your frequency? How many times a week or a month do you ideally want to be behind the bar?
once a month.
Once a month? Okay.
Yeah. But for
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like I'm on the bar the whole week this week, or I think I
Oh
will
wow.
be. Yeah. Or like when I do events, I'm usually there for like a couple of days, and it's nice. It's like I get to brew coffees and like, oh, yesterday I didn't know what to do. Today I know what to do. Figure it
Cool.
out along the way.
I think that's really nice. I miss the days of working behind the
There
bar.
is, yeah, there is an adrenaline shift that you don't get like anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, for sure, for sure. I remember working. Would have been a little over a year ago. I did a pop up at One Half in the space that you're
Yeah.
in, and that was like a just giant dopamine rush for 4 hours or 5 hours or however long that service was, because people just
So
kept coming
fun.
in, and it was
Yeah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah.
coffee after coffee after coffee, and I was with Xing Wen, and he was just hammering on that espresso machine, and I
Yeah.
was doing my best to keep up with filters, and it was a good time. Good community. You've got a great community that One Half has built in Kuala Lumpur. I think overall, I really enjoy the coffee scene in Kuala Lumpur. You guys obviously being a figurehead in that, but really great city. It's one of my favorites. I've been fortunate enough to travel lots of Asia, and Kuala Lumpur is definitely one of my favorite cities in the world. I was going to say in Asia, the world. I'll say it.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
It's up there. It's top city in the world. Big fan.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we should wrap it up. Just I think I don't remember how long the first sort of segment was because I don't see the time of that, but I think it was about an hour, and so we're probably pushing about an hour 40. Andrea,
Yeah.
where can somebody reach out and connect with you online?
Find me on Instagram. It's my birthday. It's 17 March.
Don't forget, people, it's 17
Yeah.
March.
Don't forget.
You make sure
Yeah.
you write her on her birthday, 17 March. If I'm listening and I've got questions about the career path of becoming a green coffee buyer, if I have questions about becoming a judge or becoming a rep or that progression, is it okay if I reach out to you? I'm asking on behalf
Yeah.
of a friend.
Yeah, of course. 14-year-old
Yeah?
year Cole. I
Yeah,
would say yes.
14-year-old
Do it.
Cole. Very
Do
curious.
it. Do it. Despite everything, it's all worth it. The view is great up here.
There you go. The view is great up here. That's great. And then I'll give the plug because I know you'll hesitate to do it, but support One Half Coffee Roasters out of Kuala Lumpur.
Yay!
Support TryUp. TryUp is based
Yeah.
in Taiwan, Malaysia, and China,
Yes.
something like that. Southeast Asia. TryUp is a
We have a couple
fantastic
of offices.
source.
We have a couple of offices all over the world. Reach us out on Instagram. Somebody will get in touch. It will be like an automated message, but it's actually me.
Nice. Nice. So if you need green coffee, go through TryUp. If you need roasted coffee, go through One Half. If you need
Yeah.
coffee education, which we didn't even talk about at all, just send Andrea a
For
direct
me.
message
Yeah.
and she'll set you up. I've done a few classes with Andrea and Jake and the crew, and they've been fantastic, instrumental learnings in my coffee career. Very appreciative for them. That's all I got for the plug, Andrea. You got anything else I missed? You got anything else you want to add there?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Cole.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much for joining us on By the Drip, and looking forward to seeing you somewhere in the world soon. I think in Panama soon.
Yep. Next
Yeehaw.
month. Bye bye.
Yeehaw. Bye bye. Thank you.